Hello viewers, welcoming you to the special edition of our program Face to Face. Today in this episode we are having with our esteemed guest Noel Jaeyoung, who is co-founder of GUWON Beauty Private Limited, South Korea, and Jennifer Wang Kem of Manipur, who is now holding the post of Director, SAPPHO Beauty and Wellness, Shanghai Pro, IMPHAL. Hopefully we'll be having an opportunity to know more about K-beauty brands, that is cosmetic items produced in Korea, especially GUWON Beauty, that very company I have mentioned earlier, and how they are selling in international markets. From our guest, the viewers, now we are having our esteemed guest. Nice to meet you, Noel Jaeyoung, and welcome to our show. And at the same time, nice to meet you, Jennifer, and welcome to our show. So, as I said before, today we will discuss about K-beauty brands, Korean skincare cosmetic items, which are very popular in India, particularly in Northeast India. How the products are imported from Korea and how they are being sold and distributed to the consumers, and most importantly, education of the business. For sure, I do have quite a few questions for you, Noel. So I will start with my question. Could you tell how did your journey of K-beauty business start in India?
Sure thing. So I actually moved to India around 2015. Started working in Bangalore for some tech and gaming companies. And in my office, there's a lot of girls from the Northeast that were in my office. And anytime I had to go visit Korea, they would always request cosmetics and skincare products. They'd be like, can you please buy us some? Can you please bring back some? And so I thought to myself, well, I'm sure, India is a large country. I'm sure there's so many products and brands already here, just lying around. Why can't you buy it here? And then as time went along, I started realizing that's actually not the case. For some reason, there's not a lot of Korean products here. And I think at the time I was there, the only Korean brand that I could see was Innisfree. But there's so many, there's over 10,000 brands from South Korea. So the fact that India only has one brand really intrigued me. So, my family, actually, our background is in medicine, and actually, one of my uncles is a cosmetic formulator in South Korea. So I decided to do some research. I decided to kind of look into it, and I realized, wow, there's a huge, there's huge demand for Korean beauty products, especially here in the Northeast. And, not many Koreans are, even aware of India, let alone the Northeast. And I figured, why don't I be the guy to try and fix this and bridge this gap? So I started around 2018. We started at there's a K-beauty con held in Chennai. I actually met Miss Wang Kim there as well. And, from there, it's just been, quite an interesting journey, meeting all sorts of people in the Northeast. I think I've traveled to almost every single state here, and trying to open up lanes of distribution.
A lot more than I have to know from you.
Yeah.
And then now this is your turn, Jennifer. Actually, Noel said that already you came across Noel in Chennai. So in 2018, it was in 2018. So, but your experience in terms of having met actually with Noel. So, what was there in Chennai? Why have been there? So, how you came across Noel?
We had access to a lot of K-beauty brands at that point of time, because that was the year K-beauty brands started coming to India. So we organized a K-beauty con in Chennai, Bombay, Pune, a city tour to educate the people around the brands there. So we met Noel there and we launched his brand for the first time there. And that's how it started.
What is your experience, just to having kind of these brands, K brands, beauty brands through Noel? So how is the brand? Have you already used kind of brand in?
His brand. Yes, we have used it. My dad has used it and he got a lot of compliments as well in his age that his skin is really glowing. What is the secret? My mom used it. I used it. My friends used it. And there was actually drastic change in the skin compared to what we were using earlier. And it was pretty quick also. So then I got to know the difference of other skincare and Korean skincare, how the quality is really great and how it impacts on our skin very quickly. At least in 1 month you can see the difference, the glow from within, not just getting fair, but the glow, the pigmentation,
As I
even
said,
tone.
Jennifer said, and actually, Korean cosmetic items and actually beauty brands, they are really very, very popular, not only in India, even in the world. What is that? Why so popular?
So I think there's two main reasons for that. The first, and I think no one can ignore it, is of course K-pop, K-dramas, all the Korean cultural entertainment that's popular all over the world, not just India, has definitely given a huge boost to the industry, and it's helped spread K-beauty as well. In fact, many K-beauty brands, kind of piggyback on K-pop and K-drama for their marketing. So that's for sure one huge factor. But I think the second, and I think this is the most important factor, is that in case any of you didn't know, South Korea, out of all the countries in the world, has the most strict cosmetic standards in the world. To license and get approval from the Korean FDA is extremely difficult. If I want to put whitening or brightening on a product, I can't just do it. I have to actually prove to the FDA and get an actual functional certification saying that I can do that, so that I can actually put it on my product, whereas in other countries that doesn't exist. So, I guess in short, they're good. They have to be good. Korean market is extremely competitive, the domestic market. So in order to survive in that market and get your product certified, you have to be the best.
Apart from using chemicals, rather it is herbal. Sometimes people are talking about Korean K-beauty brands. They are really very herbal and very much helpful, especially for skin.
Right, right.
How far is true? Actually, when we talk about your company like GUWON Beauty Private Limited,
Right.
So what is your product and how many products you have produced so far?
So we have about 3 brands that we are heavily marketing and licensed and everything. It's Ackwell, Sun and Park, and Top Face. Those are the 3 main brands, and all 3 brands cover different issues and different problems with skin. And yes, as you said, all 3 brands are more natural and herbal. And to your point, which you were talking about, I find that even the concepts of Ayurveda and the concepts of Korean beauty in terms of using natural and herbal is very, very similar. And I've noticed that, it's kind of nice that here in India too, everyone kind of knows Ayurveda. And so it's easier to understand the benefits of what K-beauty has as well. And so, Miss Jennifer has been selling my brands as well, along with, many other people.
It's a very good news, Jennifer.
Yeah.
So how do you do your business in Manipur? Because business, when we talk about business in Manipur, there's so many beauty parlors has been established in Manipur.
Yes.
And at the same time, in the wellness center, of course, people are getting into the wellness center. People are, say, especially for, I'm talking about, young girls, it's growing boys and girls, and actually they are getting into the gym every morning.
Yeah.
So how do you manage those people who are working with you, and at the same time, your marketing strategy, how do you organize your marketing actually here in Manipur?
It's definitely challenging managing people in Manipur. The state as a whole has a lack of skill when it comes to professionalism, and human resources hard to it's really hard to manage. And then there's lack of supply chain as well. So those factor gives a lot of challenge, but we should never give up. And then in terms of marketing, SAPPHO targets a certain audience, which is from the age of 24 to the age of 54. So we target those people in Manipur to educate what we are doing, to give the best services, and to give the
educating in terms of what actually educating. You are talking about age range you are giving, age range 24 to 50 or something like that. So how do you educate people? Actually, their mindset about the product, about the marketing, and what is your business actually in terms of education?
Okay, so this phase is when you need to be careful about yourself as a whole, not just skincare. So at this stage, a lot of people don't know what is melanin. In Manipuri, we call it mahing. They don't know how it is formed, why is it formed, and how can you reduce it. And due to the sun, our weather in Manipur, a lot of people faces that problem. So we start by digging into the roots, explaining it to them why it started, how you can cure it, how you can prevent it from happening like that. And we consult, we provide the right products for them. We provide the right services also for them so that they don't have to worry about it, and they don't have to come back to us every time, because we educate, they are knowledgeable, they can do the research later on as they age.
So
And
what
that's
about
how
now?
it
So you're
spreads.
also talking about education, education in terms of business, education, because we have to impart education in terms of changing the mind of the people too. So what is your term in terms of education?
So yeah, I think that's the most important thing here for the market. And India as a whole, I've noticed compared to like the West or some other countries, kind of falls behind on the education and awareness of skincare. I think one of the big things that, just like a doctor, you have to diagnose the problem before you solve the problem. Most people, a lot of people out here, I've noticed, they don't even know what their own skin type is. They're not able to diagnose their own problems. Therefore, how can you buy the right product for yourself to work on yourself? So, but the one nice thing about the Northeast I've noticed is that they're actually quite far ahead when I compare it to a market like Bangalore or Chennai or Delhi in terms of education, because I think you guys have been looking at Korean products a lot longer than the rest of India. So for that, and people like Ms. Wangkem has done a lot in terms of educating consumers on those basics. So it's a little bit ahead. So I think for the Northeast and for Manipur in particular, a lot of it is about learning about the ingredients, really knowing how to read the products and what these ingredients are going to do so that it matches whatever you need. Because everyone has different problems. What works for me might not work for you, it might not work for her. It doesn't mean the product is bad, it's just you got to pick the right one for yourself. So education, here it's definitely ahead.
But now, so it is quite interesting that you are focusing on Northeast.
Right.
So Northeast is going to be a very good hub for the business. And people in Northeast also very much inclined to Korea, I think, not only Korean products in the cosmetic. I'm not talking about only cosmetic items,
Right.
All the Korean, already we have talked about the film, about the foods, of
Right.
course. So is it your shop target to organize your market here in Northeast?
Absolutely. I think the Northeast is actually the best starting and launching point for any Korean business, not just mine in cosmetics, because like I said, the awareness and the education is already there. There's a much better foundation here than if I compare it to Delhi. Of course, because of K-pop and Squid Game, it's very big in the rest of India. But this market here, although it's technically smaller, it's not that small. And it's much more established. And like you said, I think there's a certain affinity. Even me, I see a lot of Manipuri food and culture, and it's very similar to Korean culture as well. So there's a certain affinity, cultural affinity, as well as just a much more stronger foundation. So any business, any Korean business, I would highly recommend them start their Indian journey here. Yeah.
Say Northeast, we do have 8 states, including youngest sibling Sikkim.
Yeah.
So how many states you have been started with your business?
So I am currently selling in Sikkim, Mizoram, Manipur, little bit in Nagaland.
What is your experience in Sikkim?
It's a very beautiful state. I would actually, that's probably where my business is the biggest. My partners that I work with there are very professional, very good. And even I think the customers there are extremely educated. They know exactly what they want, which makes my life easier as well as a businessman. So Sikkim is a great market.
So Nagaland you have been there. Now you're coming to Manipur. So Jennifer is right there along with you. So you're working together in your business. So what about Manipur? Because we can establish more and more.
Right.
Maybe retail shops, or I should say. So can we establish a business over here in Manipur?
Absolutely. In fact, she already has. I already have as well. Manipur is also, it's
are
another big
you
one.
thinking that actually this is a very lucrative business?
Yeah, it's a very lucrative business because beauty industry itself holds more than 2 billion.
What about the mindset of the young people in Manipur? I'm talking about both boys and girls, and youth especially. So what about their feelings? What about their interests just to get into Korean products?
If they are interested, they should work on it. But if they are not passionate about beauty industry, I feel that they should, because you should work into your passion. But if you're interested in business, interested in earning money, it's definitely lucrative. and it's a business that's not going to die off soon.
But who are actually getting into these cosmetic items, the imported cosmetic items which is coming from Korea? Because already India has produced so many cosmetic items, as Noel said that for about 10, 12 actually brands already available in the market. So I mean, in terms of affordability, whether Manipuri peoples in Manipuris can they afford Korean items, cosmetic items?
It's definitely
So
in a
far, your
larger-
experience is concerned.
Yeah, definitely it's a bit pricier compared to the other brands that we get here, but most people can afford because Manipur beauty market is already established. People want to look good, people want to have a healthy life, so they don't compromise much on the prices. That has been my experience so far in this 2 years, 1.5 years of opening
If
SAPPHO.
we refer to Jennifer, no, your business is going to be successful in Manipur too.
Of course, of course.
I think so. And
So-
because here comes business point of view, so we have to import, your products.
Right, right.
So I think it's not so easy. So what is the modalities and how do we import, products from Korea?
Right, right. So, nothing is as easy as it sounds, right? So, of course, yes, you order it. There's a few things, I think, in the Indian market that people need to understand. So, earlier I was saying, why is there only one brand in Korea? There must be a reason for that. And I quickly found out what the reason was one of the first steps you have to take here is you have to license with, there's an agency called the CDSCO. So you have to license your cosmetics there. For those of you who haven't dealt with the Indian government, which I'm sure everyone has, it can be a long and tedious process dealing with those kinds of agencies. So it's quite different, and it's quite difficult as well for many Korean businesses to understand and navigate that process. So you have to first get it licensed. Then once you've gotten it licensed, there's a whole nother process in Korea that has to occur to export it out. And then, of course, when you import it, one of the nice benefits of this business is that India and South Korea have a free trade agreement.
Free trade
agreement,
okay. Which
which means that there's no tariffs. You just have to pay the GST. Other brands, other countries, you have to pay the GST and the some tariffs or credit or taxes as well. So that's one of the nice benefits. But it's it takes a long time to do that. That's the formal legal way to do it. So one of the issues I've seen because of that process is so long and tedious. Many people are sourcing their Korean beauty products from either black channels. I think in Manipur a good example is they'll get it from Moray and whatnot. And maybe the products are good, maybe they're not. You don't know where it might have come from, and that makes it unreliable. But also, I understand why it is that way because the actual formal process is quite tedious.
And here comes another question in my mind that when we talk about the purity of the product itself, actually in the market we are getting this availability. Actually, India is one of the examples. I think duplicating and spurious products is very much available in Indian market.
Yeah.
So what about how do you check out your product, whether it is duplicating or not? In authenticity is actually, I should say.
So duplicating cosmetics is actually pretty difficult. Because you have to have a very, very good R&D team, and so not anyone can just duplicate a cosmetic or skincare product that easily. However, China definitely has done it, and they do it a lot. So I wouldn't worry too much about Indian business duplicating anything, but definitely you get a lot of stuff from China that are duplicates, and that's where you get the risk, like I said, from Moray and everything like that, where you might be getting a fake product. So that's kind of the risk you take when you are sourcing it from not formal and legitimate channels. So.
And then Jennifer, one more thing is that what are the cosmetic items we have to use, especially for skincare?
First of all, you have to know your skin type. If you have oily, you cannot use dry skin type. So knowing yourself, if your face is oily or dry, or is it in the middle, it's very important.
So that we have to consult with a dermatologist. Otherwise, how
no,
can
you can figure it out by yourself. You can always come to our store. We always give out a number. You can call us. You can WhatsApp us. We have our YouTube channels to educate about this. It's pretty easy. are you oily in summer? Are you oily in winter? It's easy question. You don't have to consult the dermatologist. Then you have to use a cleanser, very important. If you are a heavy makeup user, you have to use an oil cleanser. And then toner, serum, moisturizer is very important at night. And in the daytime, you cannot skip sunscreen. Sunscreen is 80% of the reason why we wrinkle very fast and why we get older very fast.
So SPF, something like 40 or 50 sunscreen. So what is that?
So SPF 30 can be used when you are a lot indoors inside all the time. And when you are outdoor person, if your work involves outdoor a lot, then use 50 SPF and use at least twice in a day, because eventually in 4 to 5 hours it will fade away.
Using SPF 50 or 40 as sunscreen actually. So what is the benefit in this? Just to use SPF 50?
It's just, yeah.
Yes, you
I can
say.
actually answer this one. So SPF 50 and SPF 40, the actual difference, so SPF stands for sun protection factor.
Okay.
So the difference between 40, 35, and 50 is actually only about 2-3%.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, that to you might not sound like a lot. And I think for somebody who just works in the office or works indoors, it's not that important. But as she was saying, if maybe you're someone that spends a lot of time outside, like you work in construction or something, then that 2 to 3% over a lifetime can make a difference. Because that's and I think that's where it really comes in. For the majority of, I guess you can call white collar office workers, 40 and 50 probably is not that big of a difference.
It's not.
It's not that big of a difference. But for someone who works outside all day, or if you're going to spend all day at the beach or something, then 50 is probably something you should think about.
Where is your office, based in India?
So we are in Delhi, actually. Our office is in Delhi, but I can assure you that most of our operations are in the Northeast.
I'm talking about in business, how to start up our business in terms of selling, these cosmetic items, right, from your company, maybe your company products, and others too.
Right.
Others too. So how do you make out an entrepreneur?
Right.
So,
right. So I think one of the things I love about India and the Northeast is I've noticed a big, strong entrepreneurial spirit that doesn't exist in Korea or in the United States, and that's something I think should be harnessed, especially here in the Northeast, where I think more opportunities can be needed here, and whatnot, and a stronger local economy here for Manipur is also good for me and my business. So of course, a little bit of selfish interest as well. I'm not gonna lie, but I think entrepreneurship is a very, very important and essential thing here. So I would like to cultivate that and help facilitate any interested entrepreneur here in Manipur. I have a lot of, it's not just cosmetics as well. There's a lot of Korean businesses that I know, that I talk to, who are really trying to enter the market that maybe I can't help right now, but maybe someone else can. And anyone who's determined and smart and has that drive to succeed, please contact me or Ms. Wongkam, and I would be willing to help them get set up with everything, make their starting point easy, and get things started so that there's
That's
more
very,
opportunities.
very good opportunity.
Yes,
Actually,
it is,
you are
yes.
giving very good opportunity from your end. So thank you very much. And at the same time, Jennifer, because it's not possible to get job at this point of time.
Yeah.
For about 10 lakh educated and employed youth
Yes.
here in Manipur. So government is not ready, and it's not possible to give white collar job. It's not
Yes,
possible.
yes.
So in private sector, we have to do something more,
Yes.
and we have to think about our future too, and we have to think about the source of earning, how to do it. So entrepreneurship actually is really very important.
Yeah.
In your term, how do you define entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship is when you give yourself a job and give others also a job and solve a problem which is existing in your own state or your own country. For me, that's entrepreneurship. So people who are unemployed but who are educated, we should not wait just for the government to give us the job. Help yourself, start something, be courageous. It needs courage. You have to take a lot of risk, but don't stop thinking that it's risky. Take the risk, fail, then learn, and keep on yearning, keep on doing the same thing. If you don't fail, you're not going to succeed. So usually here what I see is when they fail, we are bound to fail. We give up really fast. Don't give up. Take that as a learning experience. Go about it again. Try different things. Try new things. And never, ever, ever give up. That is what I would say.
What are the major barriers, to entry for both Indian entrepreneurs and or distributors and,
Yeah.
Korean brands?
That's a great question. So I would say, I'll start with this. There is definitely a different culture around work in South Korea and India. I'm not going to say which one is right or which one is wrong, but the average Korean works over 70 hours a week. So, work is extremely big part of Korea, whereas from my experience in India, that's not the case here. And it's a little bit, there's the attitude around work is different, and that creates a lot of clashes. I always try to tell my Indian partners, hey, the call starts at 8 o'clock, show up at 8 o'clock, because that's a big deal for Korean companies and whatnot. So there's a certain expectation of professionalism that I think is one big barrier between the two countries. And then I think the other, like I said, the other one is kind of the bureaucracy and the licensing process is very tedious and difficult for both Korean and Indians to understand and do. And therefore, because of that barrier, like I said, they try to do things black, or they try to do things not in the legitimate way, which I want to help solve that issue and help people, both Koreans and Indians, through that process much easier.
So company were there, products were abundantly available, cosmetic items in Korea.
Yeah.
So selling modalities in terms of Jennifer, you better know that actually offline selling and online selling. So what about the Korean brands and actually where they are interested to selling, online or offline?
So I think most Korean brands, because of where we come from, we think online is the most important channel, because most of the world is going online. Even India, online is getting huge. Nykaa is a unicorn now, and went public. So of course, I'm online, but it's still in India. The fascinating thing that I find is that 85% of the market is still offline.
Yeah.
So 85% of the Indian market is offline. And once I explain that to Korean companies and show them that it's a totally different world here, they completely understand. And whatever the Korean companies think, as the Indians here, better, right? And so I think it's up to you to tell them what they should think, because you are the experts, and I'm there to help them understand it a little bit better. But the reality is, offline in India, even with the growth of online, offline is the main distribution channel. That's not to say that social media and all that that's a little bit different. Like social media, online marketing, very important. I'm talking more of just the sales, the point of sale, where people buy, when I refer to offline. So that's one of the most unique things about India, is how important the offline market is here. And that's not going to change for at least another 10, 15 years.
And then now the same question comes to you. So what makes a successful entrepreneur?
I think I'll define for me, an entrepreneur is you're in control of your own destiny. I think that's what is your success and your failures are all your own. You're not going to have, if you don't come to the office or whatever, you're not going to have a boss yelling at you, but you're failing yourself.
Yeah.
You have to have that. So for me, what makes a successful entrepreneur, very simply, is somebody with accountability. So, they admit to themselves when they make a mistake. They don't blame it on everyone else, right? I think we all make that mistake sometimes, where yes, we're ready to blame everyone else for something bad that happened, and we're not looking at ourselves as well, what we could have done better. So I think a really good entrepreneur is both persistent. They're not going to just stop at one failure. And then I think also they're always looking to themselves as to how to improve. Even if, maybe something is not in your control, I always say you got to look at what you could have done better all the time, no matter what it is.
So Jennifer, actually, already you have started your business over here through Noel. So what about others? Have you planned to, expand your business
Yes,
in,
yes.
in Manipur, because knowledge is right here.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
both of you might be doing so many good things, just to establish more and more new business ideas and to popularize this business here in Manipur too. So what is your plan? What is your strategy in Manipur just to establish more retailer and more shops like cosmetic shops like yours? So what is your best plan?
I've already reached out to many potential people which I felt are potential could sell this product not only in Imphal, but I've reached out to districts like Thaubal, I've reached out to district like Moirang. There are young people, spirited people who are helping me as well, helping him as well distribute the brand. Plus in Dimapur, we have another SAPPHO as well. There we are looking to expand in other districts. So for now, Imphal, Manipur and Nagaland is my main focus. Over the years, maybe 2 to 3 years, I would like to expand in metropolitan cities or the smaller cities.
It's okay, quite interesting, because Noel is giving very good platform just to become an entrepreneur.
Yes,
in terms
yes,
of
yes.
doing kind of business.
Yes.
So he's the only source. So he's ready to help us out.
Yeah.
No problem at all. Anytime any individual who want to start up a business in terms of when we talk about this business, so that you can contact very easily with Jennifer Wangkem, otherwise Noel directly, no problem at all.
Yes.
This is really very, very good information, good platform. One can establish his or her own business.
Yes.
So it is really very interesting conversation, I think, and at the same time, business motive, business talk. This is actually, of course, it is really well and good. But other than that, we have to talk on many things about Korea. Why not? Noel is right here. So Korean culture, Korean food, Korean, so many films. We are really interested in Korean stuffs.
Yeah.
So Nordic people, when you are also interested in Nordic people, because
Yeah.
there is
Of course,
affinities or something like that. You have
Yes.
to have that.
Right.
So could you tell us about Korea wholesome, beauty, interest stories and food, especially I think food. So kimchi, already I talk about kimchi. This is
Right,
national dish or something like that.
Right,
So
right.
what about others? What about the food habits of Korean?
So yeah, I think so. I guess if I were to describe Korea, like the capital Seoul, or I guess Seoul, people say here, it's like a massive urban jungle. Just tall buildings, skyscrapers, just lots of karaoke bars. If you like drinking, it's a great country to be in. If you like drinking, bars. If you like partying, it's a very fun place, but also hardworking. Like I said, people are working there 70 hours a week. So, Koreans, I would say we work hard and we play hard. That's a little cliche, but that is definitely true. And for the food, I think one of the most underrated things about Korea is all the street food you get.
Yeah.
The street vendors and street food. Same with India's got great street food in Korea.
What about the mindset of especially this is very much popular in the biggest selling I think Samsung mobile phone smartphone.
Right,
This is from Korea. And
Yes.
what about Kia cars actually?
Yeah, Kia.
Cars, tons of cars
is really
here.
very famous.
I see more Korean. I feel like I see more Korean cars here than in Korea. So yeah, it's definitely they've established themselves well here, and I think people like the products a lot. And then I was saying my favorite street food. Maybe I can give someone maybe a food that they haven't heard of. My favorite street food is this little sweet pancake called hotteok.
Okay.
Hotteok. I think if you type HOTTEOK, you'll get it. And it's a very simple. It's just dough with some sugar, and you grill it, and it melts, and it creates this very, very nice sweet taste. And that's probably my favorite street food.
Noel, how do you experience about Manipuri food? Have you? I think I have taken
Yes,
so
tried
many.
it.
Yeah, I have. First thing is very spicy.
Yeah.
I think
First thing is very spicy.
it's very spicy. So compared to Korean food, I think Manipuri food is much spicier.
Yeah.
And then I think second of all, the herbs and the vegetables that you all eat is quite similar to us as well. A lot of boiled and kind of singju and all that. It reminds me of a few Korean dishes as well.
Yeah.
Even sometimes I've had the kimchi here, and it's got a little bit of a Manipuri taste to it,
Yes,
which I
it
find
does.
very interesting and
Yeah.
tasty as well. Because the vegetables are different, taste a little bit different, but they're still the same vegetables that we
Yeah.
eat in Korea as well.
So another thing is that actually people are learning in Korean. So here is the center in Manipur University, the Korean Language Center.
Yeah.
So there is opportunity of learning Korea too. So
Yeah.
people are used to speak in Korea sometimes, "Oppa, sarangnya," or something like that.
I've heard a lot of people.
So there are similarities in words too, in our language too, Korean and Manipuri actually. There are
Probably the tone, the way we speak in, I think that's the similarity.
So how do you
right?
say saranghae in Manipuri?
saranghe.
사랑해 in Manipuri.
In Manipuri, yeah.
Ay nangbu nungsiye. Sarange.
I love you.
Ayu nungbu
Ayun ang
Nungshi.
nungsi.
nungshi hai.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
See, the tone is similar, I felt. Even the food, the taste bud is very similar. When you watch K-drama, you crave the Korean food, but when you're watching a English movie, you don't crave cheeseburger. At least for me, it's like that.
Yeah.
That similar.
Eating
Right.
eating is very important in both of our
Yeah,
cultures.
both
I
our
think.
cultures.
So it was, I think, 2004 or 5, as led by 2005, I think,
Yeah.
one Korean film, a classic,
Yeah.
comes
Yes.
up in the Manipuri market,
Yes,
actually, in
yes.
Manipuri film market.
Right.
It was really excited and very amazing to watch that very movie.
Right,
So
right.
people are imitating, how the Korean people are
Ran with
acting
that coat.
in the film. Yeah. So it was really wonderful,
Yeah.
very
Right.
love story
Right,
film,
right.
actually. And then comes to, Arirang's channel. We
Yeah.
have seen in all the programs, Heart or something like that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Talk show and many entertainment programs
Yes.
too. So
KBS.
we do have Korean fever.
Of
Yes.
course,
Yes.
yeah, I've seen it. I've seen
Yeah.
it. There's many. I was shocked when I saw Arirang in Bangalore. They were. I just turned the TV and there's a Korean drama playing. I'm like, am I in India? Like,
We've been
So-
watching that since when I was in class 6, which makes me 13, 14.
yeah.
So what do you interest most in Manipur?
I think so. I mean, no matter what the place is like, I think the most important thing is the people.
Okay.
And I think the people are very friendly. I've been treated with nothing but kindness here in Manipur. Everyone is so welcoming and so helpful. Even if I don't need anything, they're always asking me, what do I need? So the people here are so friendly and nice. That's one of the first things. And then I think another thing that I like about it's the food is great too. I always try to eat the local food before I have to go back to Delhi or somewhere else. So the food is definitely
So
something
Jennifer,
I'm-
I think Jennifer will provide you.
Yeah, he did. He likes Irongba.
Yeah,
and we
Irongba-
will eat
Irongba
that
is my
in our
favorite,
house.
yeah.
So,
He really liked that. He was like, wow, what is this?
okay,
Even
very
if it's
nice.
spicy.
So
Yeah.
here comes then our composition. Very nice talk with you, Noel, and at the same time, Jennifer, you are very, very, very fortunate that actually you are associated with Noel.
Yes,
So I think
I
as soon as possible, your business will be up to the mark, I think.
I hope so too.
So thank you very much once again, Noel, for your coming and taking part in our show.
Thank you so much
So,
for having me.
Jennifer, you too. And
Thank you so
very
much
once
for
again.
having me.
So here comes the end of our program. So thank you very much once again.